93% of executives make snap judgments about competence in the first 7 seconds of an interaction. Not 7 minutes. 7 seconds. And here is what makes that number brutal. Almost none of that judgment is based on what you say. It's based on what you project before you ever open your mouth. You walk into a boardroom. You've prepared your deck. Your data is airtight. Your recommendation is sound. But you sit down. And within moments, someone else in that room, someone with less expertise, less preparation, less insight, commands the narrative. Their ideas get traction. Their voice carries weight. And yours doesn't. This isn't about luck. This isn't about charisma or natural talent. This is about executive presence. And most leaders have been taught to think about it completely backwards. They focus on delivery, on rhetoric, on polish. They practice their opening line. They rehearse their tone. But by that point, they've already lost. The problem is acute in Singapore and across Asia Pacific. According to a 2025 leadership study from the International Coach Federation, 67% of senior leaders in the region report that presence, not technical skill, was their biggest constraint when advancing to C-suite roles. In India, where business culture often values hierarchical formality, presence missteps can be particularly costly. A CTO or CFO who doesn't establish gravitas before speaking doesn't just lose that conversation. They lose credibility capital they'll spend months rebuilding. This video is about dismantling that myth. We're going to walk through the mechanics of executive presence, the specific things your body, your energy, and your preparation communicate to a room before your first word lands. We're not talking about shallow confidence tricks or boardroom theater. We're talking about the framework that separates executives who influence outcomes from executives who attend meetings. By the end of this, you'll understand 3 specific leverage points that create presence, how to audit your own, and how to deploy them strategically depending on the situation. This isn't nice to have polish. For leaders in high-stakes environments, whether you're managing a crisis, pitching to a board, or navigating a critical negotiation, this is foundational. The first leverage point is spatial and postural authority. This is where most leaders stumble. They think presence means being louder or more animated. It actually means the opposite. It means claiming your space with intention. When researchers at Harvard Business School studied board meeting dynamics in 2025, they found that executives who entered rooms with intentional posture, shoulders back, head level, deliberate movement, were interrupted 62% less frequently than those who shuffled in or slouched at the table. 62% less. That's not about vanity. That's about literally being treated as someone worth listening to. Here's a concrete example. A CTO at a major financial services firm in Singapore. Let's call him Ravi. Used to arrive at board meetings already seated. His materials scattered. Half reviewing something on his laptop. His contributions were technically sound, but the board treated them as advisory input, not strategic intelligence. He made one change. He arrived 5 minutes early, sat upright, made eye contact with each board member as they entered, and had his materials contained and ready. Same CTO. Same insights. Within 3 meetings, the board began deferring to his assessments without challenge. The application here is precision. Before you enter a high-stakes room, do this. Stand for a moment before you sit. Put your shoulders back. Place your hands visible on the table, not in your lap, not crossed defensively. Keep your head level. Don't nod reflexively while others speak. Listen actively but with stillness. These aren't performance tricks. They're the physical language that says, I have thought about what I'm about to do, and I'm not anxious about it. The second leverage point is preparation depth, but not the kind you think. Most executives prepare by memorizing talking points. That's backward. Presence comes from preparation so thorough that you can be spontaneous. Research from the Center for Creative Leadership in 2026 reveals that senior leaders who prepared by mapping opposing viewpoints and potential objections beforehand demonstrated 51% higher presence scores in executive assessments than those who focused on perfecting their narrative. Because here's what happens. When you're prepared only for your own story, you're brittle. Someone challenges you sideways, and you tighten up. Your energy contracts. The room senses it. But when you've mapped the counterargument, when you've already thought through 3 scenarios where someone might push back, you stay relaxed. You can actually listen in the moment. You can adapt. You can be thoughtful rather than defensive. That ease, that intellectual comfort, reads as authority. Consider a CFO in Bangalore who was presenting a major technology investment to her board. She didn't just prepare her case for why the investment made sense. She prepared the 3 strongest reasons the board might reject it. She modeled the downside scenarios. She knew her cost structure and her assumptions better than anyone in the room, because she'd pressure tested them mentally beforehand. When questions came, and they did, she wasn't scrambling. She was conversational. She was confident without being rigid. The board approved the investment. But more importantly, they asked her to lead the company's strategic technology decisions going forward. Her presence had changed her authority in that organization. How you apply this? Stop preparing your script. Start preparing your uncertainty. Before your next high-stakes meeting, spend 30 minutes mapping the 3 objections you most fear. Write them down. Think through your response. Not word for word. Conceptually. This does 2 things. It removes the anxiety from surprise, and it creates the mental space to actually engage with people in the room rather than just defend your position. The third leverage point is what I call intent clarity. And this is the one that separates truly powerful executives from those who are merely competent. Before you speak, do you know exactly what outcome you want? Not a vague sense of it. The specific thing. According to a 2025 analysis from Deloitte on executive decision-making, leaders who articulated their primary objective to their team before a meeting began influence the outcome 73% more effectively than those who entered without a clear ask. Because presence isn't about being impressive. It's about being purposeful. People feel that distinction instantly. Most leaders walk in with a general sense of what they want to achieve. That vagueness leaks out of them. Their energy is diffuse. They're testing the room rather than leading it. Presence demands the opposite. You should know exactly what decision you want made, what commitment you need, or what reframing you're offering. That clarity is magnetic. It draws focus. It makes people want to follow you. Here's the case study. A CTO at a major Indian tech conglomerate, leading a merger integration initiative, was struggling to get regional leaders aligned on a technical roadmap. He kept going into meetings saying he wanted to collaborate on the path forward. He was hoping to facilitate consensus. But there was no clarity, no anchor. The meetings meandered. Then he shifted his approach. Before the next meeting, he decided his primary objective was to get buy-in from 3 specific regional leaders on a phased cloud migration timeline. He knew exactly what he wanted. He walked in and said so. Calmly, not aggressively. In the first 60 seconds, the meeting had direction. Challenges came, but they were focused challenges. He had given people something concrete to react to rather than a fog to navigate. The roadmap was approved. The integration timeline accelerated. Apply this directly. Write down your primary objective before your next strategic meeting. One sentence. Not a paragraph. One sentence. Then ask yourself, is this specific enough that someone could hold me accountable for it? If the answer is no, clarify it further. Then carry that one sentence with you into the room. You'll notice your energy shifts. Your questions get sharper. Your pauses become powerful rather than awkward. That's what happens when you have intent clarity. When executive presence is built on these three foundations: spatial authority, preparation depth, and intent clarity, something shifts. You're not performing confidence. You're embodying it because you've actually done the work. Your stakeholders sense that difference. 6 months from now, Thanks for listening. If you found this valuable, please subscribe to Apex Minds D4J for more powerful insights. See you in the next one.